Last time our Agony aunts and uncles taught us about life. It was an epic and sometimes heartbreaking road trip. Now the aunts and uncles have rehydrated and are ready to jump on board the Agony Express once again. This time round, they'll be cross-examined on manners, from politeness to rudeness to what is right and wrong. But before we go any further, let's find out what riles them most.
My wife licks the knife. Oh, I hate it.
A strut, I don't like strutters. There's an arrogance about a strut.
I get annoyed if I don't get the wave back. If I let someone in and they don't give me the wave, I mean, that's what I'm doing it for.
Welcome to the Agony of modern manners, where Australia's funniest and brightest enter the war zone that is human behaviour. Over 6 enthralling instalments, they will say yes or no to the way we behave at home, the office, online, on a plane, dining, or at a wedding. With society becoming more complicated by the day, it's time someone took us by the hand and guided us through the chaos. The agony of modern manners, when it doesn't cost anything to be nice. When it comes to procedure and politics, there's no greater hotbed than the workplace. You'll spend most of your waking hours there, you'll be forced to become friends with people you wouldn't normally seek out, and if it doesn't all go smoothly, goodbye career and way of life. So it makes the first day kind of important. How should you behave?
High energy and low maintenance.
I wouldn't go in for a hug on your first day.
Show that you can get on with it. Show that you can think for yourself, and don't keep justifying why you've done something wrong accidentally.
Don't align yourself with people too early. I reckon just suss out, because often the person who's friendliest to you on the first day is the person with no friends.
If you remember the name of the dog that belongs to the girl in accounts, you have got her forever. And so if you remember the name of people's children and what they do, and a little bit of that, you can, you know, divide and conquer the workplace. So listen, shut up and listen.
I've worked in a lot of waitressing jobs where I could tell on the first day that people hated me because I didn't know I didn't know their system, or I didn't know how to put the cutlery out, or I'd mess things up. And so I think a really important thing to do is pretend you don't know they hate you, because if you acknowledge they hate you, then they'll always hate you. But if you sort of pretend you're oblivious to it, within a week, you might have some friends there.
I used to work at a cinema for about 6 years. And so if we ever got a new person, I would take them and show them everything, like where the stock room is and how the register works and everything, so they didn't feel sort of like a fish out of water. But there was this one girl, I did that too, and she was listening and she was lovely. And then by the end of the day, she just sort of leant on the counter. I was like, so what are you doing on the weekend? And then when she left, I said to my friend, the leaning was a bit much, don't you think? It was just sort of a bit too comfortable.
So you made her feel really comfortable.
Too comfortable. Yeah. I wanted her, I guess, to fear me just a little bit.
Respect mixed with fear are endearing ingredients for most first dayers. But is there an argument for not trying too hard?
I think you should ring in sick. But, you know, if you are one of those professionals and you're hell-bent on going in, leave early. So anything you give after that is just a bonus, just cream.
Don't dress up too much, just enough. And you want to be that sort of cool, mysterious guy. And then everyone goes, oh, who's that guy? Wow, who's he? He's mysterious. And then on Friday night, you go out and have drinks with everyone and you fuck it all up.
If you're not the right fit, you're just delaying it. So how you act on the first day of a job should be just how you act every day of the job. Like, you can't hide for that long your insanity or your prejudices or whatever. It's gonna come out.
You should be meek and respectful and don't say anything.
Well, I'm not sure of that, Tom. I think you want to make sure they know you're there.
Well, no one knows what they're supposed to do on their first day.
Well, if you've taken the job, they would have told you, I imagine.
I think you should wear a name tag and assume that everybody will forget who you are.
Oh, God. You can speak for yourself. They all know who I am.
But the challenge for the more anonymous among us is to work out what coffee cup is okay to use. How does that work itself out, Kate?
You're like tap dancing on this lake of anxiety because you know it's political. Like, who's got the View mug? And then someone goes, oh, Val won't mind. Val won't. You've used Val's mug. The only thing that's left is one of those beige mugs with a brown circle around that's chipped. Oh, this is for you.
You know, it's excruciating.
Beige coffee mugs rarely see much love, nor does the office microwave.
The other day at work, someone reheated a laksa. And they've prawned out the microwave. So it's all prawny smelled. I was like, I can't put my lasagna in there. I don't want prawn in my lasagna. I had to go upstairs and use the executive microwave.
But the headliner in this cast of atrocities in your office kitchen is the fridge. A dirty, bloated beast of a thing that has been mistreated and led astray for years.
I think the office fridge is just a disaster. It's a fetid mess. It's never worked, it never will work. It's an example of how people can't live as a collective.
The head secretary will send out an email saying, we're clearing the fridge now, this is it, no mercy, get your stuff out, we're clearing it, this is it. And if you don't listen to her, obviously your stuff gets thrown out. And I think that's fair, that's fair. If you leave it there, that's on you. But the worst is when people's stuff gets thrown out and then they come over and complain about it.
I get annoyed at people that get annoyed about the office fridge. I don't get it. If it's not yours, don't eat it. If it's rotten, throw it out.
I know this story about this guy who the secretary threw away his juice box. And he came around to demand for a juice box to the point where the secretary was like, what do you want me to do? What do you want? You want a new juice box? You want me to go get you a juice box? And he was like, yeah. So she went to get him a juice box.
Put your food in and take it out. If someone's taken it, take theirs.
I like the way people write their name on their low price, low fat, Aldi yogurt. Like as if anyone's going to take that. I'm not going to take that.
So if your light-fingered co-workers aren't into yogurt, what are they into, John Elliott?
Well, they pinch the gin. They do. We always keep the gin and tonic in the office fridge so that you can have a drink late in the day. And you come in sometimes and other people have knocked it off. Terrible.
I don't like the way people have really nice stuff easily accessible. You know what I mean? So if someone puts a plate of Rocky Road just in the fridge, no Glad wrap, no foil, I reckon that's up for the grabs.
I've had to borrow some cheese. I've had to borrow stuff in my time. I am also, by the way, the first to get indignant if I bring food in. And it's like, what? I brought in a full pat of butter yesterday and it's gone.
You should at least cover it or put a name on it. If you just got a plate of cakes or something, that's everyone's.
Good to know. Now, before doing these interviews, I would have thought thievery was the worst thing that could happen inside an office fridge. But I was wrong, wasn't I, Yumi?
I had to store a urine sample in the fridge for something, some test or something, and I did, but it leaked a little bit onto someone's sandwich. It leaked a bit onto someone's sandwich, so I knew that if I threw out the sandwich, they'd have a shit fit. So I couldn't tell them that either, so I just wiped the plastic down and left it there in the fridge.
Yumi knows that having a cool head in a crisis is one of the things that keeps people employed. But there are few places more challenging in the workplace than the lift. It's compact and has been known to kill people. How should you behave in it?
When there's no one else in the lift, I just look in the mirror the whole time.
In a lift, there should be silent detachment.
But if there's someone else in the lift, then I pretend that I'm not looking in the mirror and just sort of steal glances to see where I'm at.
I'm not down on lift conversation or lift jokes. Just get in, stare at the numbers like everybody else, dead eyes, dead ahead, and get out.
Don't begin a story with someone that you know or don't know when you know that that story is too long for a lift ride.
No one loves the chatty lift person because basically there's not enough time to finish the interaction or to develop it. So it's a quick game of tennis. Bang, bang, bang. Ding!
You can't be continuing stories. You can't stop the lift to finish off your story. So no deep life questions unless they're answerable in like 2 lines. Just short stories. Estimate your stories. Know your stories. Don't go longer than like 2 lines.
I think it's always nice to say hello to people. I do. See? Yeah.
Look, I have to admit, I'm practically a bellhop.
I like to stand in the buttons to pretend I've got the power and I'm a big nice guy. What floor? What floor? I'll do it. What floor? Yeah, okay, good.
Within reason, I like to be of help.
And then you can always make a joke. Floor number 5, menswear, women's lingerie. Out you go. No one ever laughs though, but anyway.
The worst thing I ever did on a lift was I got in, this before I was a parent, and I got in the lift absent-mindedly just as this guy comes in with his daughter. And in front of her, I just pushed the button. Like, it's a big thing for a kid to push the button. And I robbed her of pushing the button. What sort of guy am I?
A guy who didn't know the rules. Believe me, when it comes to lift injustices, the universe hands out far greater slights.
One of the worst things that can happen in a lift is when you enter a lift and there's already a smell and it wasn't you. And then someone else comes in halfway and you give them a look like it wasn't me. But no one will ever believe you.
Do you explain to a stranger, by the way, that's not me. That's a sewage problem. That's not me. That's not me. Or do you just say nothing?
It's happened to me twice now where I enter a lift, there's some smell in there, I'm like, please don't let someone come in here because it's gonna be on me. So they're gonna think it's on me. Someone frame me. I get framed in lifts.
I think whatever you have in your body when you enter the lift should still be in your body when you exit the lift. And I even mean breath, like keep that to a minimum. Like just keep it in.
I think if you're by yourself and you fart in the lift, it is absolutely certain that the lift will stop and someone else will get in.
That's a brilliant answer, Tom.
The thing about lifts is they're unforgiving environments, especially if you're injured, on wheels, or scared.
I'm extremely claustrophobic.
As a wheelchair user, I often have to get into a lift when other people are already in there, and I'll end up facing the wrong way.
I'll always take the stairs if I have to. Yeah. If I have to get in a lift, I'll just go internal, like try and close my eyes and imagine I'm not there, because I'll just panic.
Sometimes there's no room for me to turn around, and the most awkward thing about that is that my eye height is your fly height. So for me, the worst kind of behaviour in a lift, especially for men, is any kind of thrusting motion. Not good, not good. Keep your fly done up as well. It's really, really important.
I did get stuck in a lift once, recently actually.
Stuck?
Well, yeah, I got in there and then the doors wouldn't open and I started to panic, but I just hoped that I would almost panic so much that I would black out or faint so that I wouldn't have to deal with it, and then I'd just wake up and I'd be rescued. But they had one of those phones that you can ring, and I called the lady and she called someone else and they came down and saved me.
One of the worst experiences I actually had in a lift was I only ever put my back out once, and it was in Sydney. I was staying in a hotel and I had to ring for the management to take me to the hospital, and they sent up a stretcher. It was like everyone was going for dinner about 7:30 at night, and they wheeled me into the lift and it stopped at every floor, and I'm on this thing and everyone's coming in and looking down and saying, One woman, I'm actually like this, in the worst pain I've been, sitting in this lift, and one woman said, what's Magda Szubanski like? What's Magda Szubanski like? That's why you don't get into crowded lifts on a stretcher.
Steve said that Magda's actually really nice. Now, few people still working will remember the time when the tone for workplace fashion was smart and sensible. These days, it's all about self-expression. And of course, trouble arises when your expression doesn't sit well with others. What shouldn't you wear to work?
No skin in the workplace.
My pet hate is men who wear singlets in the workplace. Dude, you're not in Bali, it's the workplace. I don't want to see that underarm stuff.
Well, you shouldn't be too sexy, you know, you shouldn't have all your bosoms out.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have a skirt too short. You shouldn't lead everybody to temptation.
Certainly the chest department, I wouldn't want to go too far down at all. And in fact, I've probably compensated by wearing things that are quite high.
I say the less, sexuality, the better. People will need to concentrate, they need to get their work done. They don't need distractions.
I remember one male journo who said, you never wear like low cut tops or whatever. And I was like, that's a really good reason for me not to wear a low cut top.
I love a bit of cleavage at the office. That's always been fun. Anything that kind of nurtures a little sexual harassment always brightens up your day, doesn't it?
Get your boobs out. You're at work all the time. Yeah. When else are you going to get your boobs out?
Sales departments of radio and TV, they really ramp it up in terms of hair, makeup, tan, tight clothing, both men and women. Yeah. I mean, radio sales people dress like sex workers.
I walked in and all the women looked amazing. They're like catwalks, got shoes with
heels this high, basically wearing cocktail dresses in the middle of the day to work in radio. I was very, very strange.
I almost think that, you know, the workplace burqa would be good for men and women. Just your eyes and your hands free, get the job done, take your burqa off and go. I don't even want to see your face in the workplace.
Boobs, no boobs, faces, no faces. What else should we delete from the workplace?
Thongs, thongs and thongs. Don't wear thongs. A closed shoe, just a closed shoe. Bit of pride, bit of respect in what you're wearing, and a bit of taste.
If it looks like Johnny Depp would wear it, don't wear it to work. That's probably the easiest, the simplest like fashion advice for work I can give. Torn jeans, no. Hat, you're not in Pirates of the Caribbean.
I got 2 rules. No tracksuits and no bow ties.
Should always wear a suit, tie, otherwise you don't look the part at all. And I think it's most important to keep up the standards, and then you can go anywhere. See, the problem is that people come into my office and I'd take them to the Savage Club for lunch, but they haven't got a shirt, they haven't got a coat or tie on.
Your suit, lack of suit, or lack of any material over your skin is potentially a source of chat in the workplace. For some, the act of gossiping is undermining. For others, it's healthy unstressing. In any case, are you one of those people who talks about their colleagues behind their backs?
Yes. Of course, everyone does.
Frequently. That's the whole purpose of going to work. I mean, isn't that why you go to work? So you've got something to talk about?
Oh, gossip's half the fun.
Gossip makes the world go round, you know. I'm a massive gossip. I love it.
I mean, really, let's be honest. And they're talking about me. I mean, it's human nature.
The moment you're not in the room, you're being discussed. That's just a fact of life.
I constantly talk about my colleagues behind their backs, and then I'm so regretful about it. And then I call everyone and say, you know, I love them. I love them. I didn't mean it. Please, you'll never tell them, will you? You'll never tell them. By then, they've forgotten anyway. Every year, I say to myself, I'm not going to do it again this year I do.
It's a unifying thing. If there's one tool in the office, that is something that everyone can get on board with. You know what I mean? Like, everyone, there's always one idiot that bonds people together.
I was at an ad agency once and I'd only been there for about 3 or 4 weeks, and there was a Chinese guy and he was in the kitchen. I heard him talking to someone about this girl called Kirsty, and he's like, oh, she's so noisy, that Kirsty. Oh, I wish she wasn't working here. Kirsty's so noisy, so loud. And I'm sitting at my desk going, God, who is this Kirsty? It must be a new, wow, who is she? I mean, I thought, I'm thirsty, so I went to the kitchen. He was still there, and he goes, hi, Kirsty. And I was like, it's me.
It's hard to know who to feel sorry most for, Chrissy or Kirsty. Sure, being gossiped about is a bitter pill to swallow, but according to Kate Lanbrook, there is a reason for it.
Gossip is God talking through women. When you are in a workplace where there are no women and it's just men, the workplace tends to be, as you'd expect, barren, like a sort of emotionally barren sort of place. Whereas I think women, when we discuss our colleagues and their love life or lack of, or how they're looking, or it's actually a way of monitoring how everyone's doing, how the people that you work with are doing. Yeah. I think it's really important and good.
In the old days, it was absolutely behind your back, but now there are honesty sessions where workers are encouraged to tell other people what they think to their face. So these honesty sessions, in theory, I think are pretty good. In practice, you know, do you really want me sitting here saying I didn't think the second series of Wilfred was your strongest effort? No. Behind the back, always better.
We're 3/4 of the way through this episode on workplace manners, and we've learnt that if you break wind, Ronnie will be blamed for it. Everyone knows who John Elliott is, and Lawrence wants to trial the workplace burqa.
Because you can't check out their bum.
But another in an increasingly volatile lineup of hotspots is the workplace desk. Remember the days when it used to be used for work? Me neither. So even if we accept that it's a station of sloth and distraction, what should we definitely not do at it?
Pray. Imagine, oh, there's Wendy. She's praying at her desk again.
Don't cut your toenails. I've done that before. Don't clean out your ears. I've done that before.
I am definitely the most disgusting person at my office because I eat almost continuously from the start of work to the end of work.
Some work desks, dressing rooms can be quite messy if you've ever shared a dressing room with other actors. Different actors have different ways of presenting their stuff. I like to wash all my brushes that night, so the next morning they're all ready to go.
And I also do this disgusting thing where I'd get changed into my joggers and my jogging sweats at my desk because I can't be bothered going to the bathroom.
It's important to make sure that you do not look like you're having too much fun because everybody will know that you're not actually doing work and you are on YouTube.
If you have got pictures of your loved ones on the desk, just make sure that maybe you're in the photo, because I had a bad experience with the accountant at the last place I worked. I walked into his office and he had a picture of a child on his desk from the subcontinent. And I said, "Oh, you're sponsoring a child?" He went, "No, that's my son." Yeah, it was just... I said, "Sorry, did I say sponsoring? I thought I meant raising. Are you raising a child?" And I could hear his secretary just pissing herself, like laughing.
I think, you know, surfing porn and doing the sorts of things that people do, you probably shouldn't do. Like, there was a guy that was on television, he didn't realise it a couple of years ago, looking at stuff he shouldn't have on national television. I think he had Miranda Kerr topless on his computer. So
how did he find that?
Well, he was someone was doing a news report over his shoulder and he was just working away and watching Miranda Kerr.
No, but how would he find Miranda Kerr
on the
topless
internet?
On the internet.
It's amazing what you can find on the internet.
I don't use the internet at all. I think it's secretary's work, so I let them do it. So as long as you've got a clean ashtray, I think that's the important thing.
But why stop at the clean ashtray when you can have a clean desk? And by clean, I mean completely bare.
Don't let anyone know anything about you because I walk past people at work and there's a little photo there or they've got a little cup or a little plant and I make a value judgment. But you walk past my desk, nothing. There's no cactus. There's just some shit that people have sent me and that's it. And this idea that you can bring some sort of personality into a stale workplace is absurd. Don't do it.
My desk is like a Stasi officer's desk, level 3 analyst. It's got sharpened pencils and a computer because I know through bitter experience that if you're sacked, you want to pick up and go. You don't want to carry the box of shame with a photo of your wife and your awards and some other shitty souvenirs. You keep it minimal, so when the word comes, you get up and you walk out and there's no sign that you were ever there. It's a very male thing. You're always planning the exit strategy in your relationship, in your professional life. Every man is on the run in his head. Every man's a fugitive from himself.
As we approach the straight in the race to learn about workplace etiquette, it's inevitable that we'll come face to face with the phone. There's something so handy, why does it cause so much angst?
When you're on the phone at work, do not have an emotional conversation with your parents about why you are not married yet and how getting angry about it doesn't help.
You don't talk to your lover on the telephone. You're not meant to have a lover anyhow. You're meant to have a husband.
Everyone knows when you're talking to your wife because your voice changes and then you've got the difficult, I love you at the end. And you go down in everyone's estimations. Everyone says I love you, but no one wants to hear somebody else say it.
Totally lost respect for Bob and accounts.
Yeah. I heard him tell his wife that he loves her.
I don't mind listening into other people's conversations, so if there's a loud talker, that doesn't bother me.
But how fantastic if you worked with someone who's like having their marriage-ending conversation at work. That's just like, that's great.
And you're privy to it.
Yes, you're just like sitting at the... Afterwards you're like, do you want a coffee?
Yes, phones are good for arguing with your spouse and your father.
We don't have a fight on the phone, a domestic.
What do you have domestics?
No, I don't.
I've never had an argument in my life with my partner, Joanne. She's wonderful. But you don't have domestics. You've got to be much smarter than that. You just get on with life. On the phone, you do your business and the conversation should be short. Now, the problem with a lot of people on the telephone is they just yap on and on and on. They just keep talking.
Yeah, I don't like to chat.
Nor
Get
do
it over
I.
and done with.
Well, you and I, our conversations are about 5 seconds.
Very
I'll be
efficient.
there in 5 minutes, Tom. Good, bye.
See you soon.
And there it is, the agony of the workplace in all its dysfunctional glory. It's enough to make you want to go home. The one place you could put your thonged feet on the desk without fear of recrimination.
I called the cops and said, I've been assaulted by a guy with a leaf blower. And the cop said, did he hit you with the leaf blower? And I said, no, he gave me a blow wave.
They do anything to get out of changing the toilet roll, and they leave just like one sheet of paper hanging on there. Just one, just in case a... Why? Just in case a 2-inch man walks in to use the toilet. Oh, great, one sheet of paper. I don't like that.
Have you ever cleaned a bathroom?
I don't think so.
No.
No, I leave that to others. It's menial work.
Next on ABC, get up-to-the-minute coverage of Australian and international news on Late Line. Then hosted by Tikki Fullerton, The Business. And later, from the team behind At Home with Julia, Wednesday Night Fever.